Are you wanting to increase how much you can bench press? Typically, that can be a common goal, and often we just think, well, we need to push harder on bench press, right, in order to increase that. But there's a lot of other things that we can do to help with that, and that's what we're talking about in today's episode. So strap in and get ready for episode 054. Let's go.
I've always been that skinny guy.
Why can't I gain muscle mass?
What do I do in the gym?
They said I'd always be skinny.
This is your complete source for how to gain lean muscle and break out of your skinny body. From nutrition to getting the most out of your workouts and everything in between. We know just how frustrating gaining muscle mass can be, but don't worry, we've got you covered. You're listening to the Bones to Bulk podcast. Hello, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brian Parody and I will be your host. And before we dive into today's episode, I really want to encourage you to head on over to bonestobulk.com. First off, there's a lot of cool stuff there. Second off, right on the homepage, sign up for our free mini course. It's free. All you have to do is put in your email address and it's delivered straight to your inbox. And that course is packed with information. You're going to get 5 days worth of info that I spent a lot of time compiling, and I promise is really good stuff that will be valuable to you as you start your fitness journey, or even if you're already on your fitness journey. It's valuable stuff. So head on over to bonestobulk.com and sign up. I promise you won't regret it. All right, with that being said, let's dive into today's episode. So the bench press, when you think of a chest exercise, that's immediately what most people go to. And for good reason. I mean, it's kind of twofold. The chest press is one of the exercises where you feel good when you hit a new PR on. It's a good workout, don't get me wrong, but it's also mentally a good workout because we feel that it's one of those staple exercises. So as we increase that, we feel like we're getting stronger overall. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, it's good to feel like you're progressing. It's good to have that sense of accomplishment. So that's why I always encourage people to set small goals as well as large goals, because as you hit those small goals, it really helps you have motivation to keep going, because you hit that small goal and you kind of think to yourself, okay, awesome, I hit this goal, I can keep going and I'm going to hit this next goal. And before you know it, you've hit that large goal that a while back seemed impossible, but because you broke it down into steps, it's possible. So how do you increase how much you want to bench press? Well, reason would stand to say, well, just keep it throwing more weight on the bar, right? But what if, you've tried that and you just can't get the bar up? What are some other methods you can do? So first off, I highly recommend changing up the amount of reps you do from week to week. So for example, let's say you go into the gym and let's call this week 1. And let's say you do high reps. So you're going to do maybe 15, maybe 20 reps. And obviously, because you're doing high reps, you're not going to be able to do as much weight, right? So start off with that. Then in week 2, drop that down. So I'm going to say we started at 15 for week 1. So in week 2, let's try to hit 12 reps. And you're going to pump out 12 reps with as much weight as you can do. So basically, the way you measure as to whether you have the right amount of weight on your bar. Let's say, you're in week 1 and you're trying to hit 15. If you hit 18, you need to increase the weight. If you only hit 10, you need to decrease the weight. You need to be able to hit 15 and feel absolutely exhausted, like you couldn't pump one more out. That's how to determine how much weight to use. And at first, you may have to play around with the weight in order to kind of figure out where you're at and what you need to do. So week 1, 15. The second week, we're going to do 12 reps. And again, you're going to do the same principle. As much weight as you can to where you can still hit 12 reps. Then we're going to go to week 3. Now in week 3, we're going to drop it down to 8 or 9. I suggest 8. And we're going to do 8 reps with as much weight as we can. Then in the final week, we're going to do 4 or 5 reps. And you're going to go as heavy as possible. Now, obviously, from week 1 to week 4, we're dropping down our reps by roughly, if you do 4 or 5, by 10 or 11 reps, right? So you should be lifting way heavier on week 4 than you were on week 1. Now, so same principle applies. You're going to go as heavy as possible to where you can still hit 4 or 5 reps. Then you are going to start the process over. So what you're going to find is when you go back to week 1, so let's say you've done this for 4 weeks, you've done this process, then on week 5, you go back and start what you did originally. So you go back to the high reps, lower weight. What you're going to find is just after 1 month, you should be able to lift more than you did a month ago in that same rep range. The reason for this is it changes up what you're doing enough to really throw off your muscles and confuse them, because I've talked about before how our muscles have memory, and when we do the same things week after week, they kind of get accustomed to that, and then they stop progressing, they stop growing because they know where they can kind of coast. They don't have to work as hard. So like, oh, well, we're going to lift this, so I don't have to really do any extra work. So this is a great way to increase your overall lifting strength. And this can be applied to any exercise. It's not just the bench press. I love this method when I'm trying to increase the amount I'm lifting. Now, that's my top way to increase your lift, but I do recommend obviously doing other chest exercises. And there is so many other good chest exercises out there. You know, often we just think of flies or bench press, whether it's, you know, declined or inclined. Those are kind of the two main workouts that get all the attention when it comes to chest, but there's so many more chest workouts. So yes, you do have the fly and the bench press, and those are great exercises. However, I also highly recommend plate raises, where you squeeze 2 plates together and you start basically with them low down by your waist and raise them up to eye level, and then lower and raise them up to eye level, and keep doing that process. And the reason why you want to squeeze 2 plates together, like grab 2 5 or 2 10-pound plates and squeeze them together, is because that squeezing action is what really activates the pec muscles. And so that causes them to grow. So I highly recommend this exercise. Another great one that is very underutilized are dips. Dips can really, especially when you're doing them correctly in the right position, can really target the chest. And the right position is you want to face the dip machine, not away from it. And you want to kind of kick your legs up behind you a little bit so that you're leaning forward. And so that kind of helps activate, again, those chest muscles so your arms aren't doing all the work. Another great thing you can do to build the chest is change things up. So, you know, we typically think of the bench press, right? Well, try dumbbell presses or dumbbell flies as opposed to cable flies. Changing up how you do the exercises, you know, the type of weights you use. Again, it's changing things up enough to really stretch you, to really grow you. You'll find that doing a bench press with dumbbells is way harder than with a barbell, because if you have a dominant side, you can't rely on that dominant side to help you out. You're doing the same amount of weight in both arms, and so you really have to push yourself. Now, if you are, one thing I will say, if you're going to do flies or presses with dumbbells, I do recommend you lay on the ground and do them. The reason for this is if you're on a bench with dumbbells and you're doing flies or you're doing a bench press, it's really easy for that weight to become overbearing and push those arms behind your body further than it should go, which can lead to injury. I know a lot of people who have, you know, really done some damage doing this. If you lay on the ground and do it, you're preventing your arms from going too far back behind you when you're doing a press or a fly with dumbbells. So don't worry about how you look. Again, this isn't about how you look when you go in the gym. If somebody looks at you for laying on the floor, who gives a crap? You're in there for you. And if they ask, hey, like, I don't want to get injured, like, say that, you know, teach other people. And I guarantee, like, there's so many times when I'm in the gym and people come up to me and ask me why I'm doing something the way I'm doing it, or, you know, what muscle group this exercise works out, because they see, hey, I haven't seen that before. I don't really see that very often. So what's the deal? So don't be afraid to do different things. So again, if you're using dumbbells, lay on the floor to prevent that backward movement of the arms going too far back. And that's it. Those are my suggestions if you want to really increase your bench press. And again, as I say all the time, you know, nothing happens overnight. Don't go in there in 1 week and do these things and expect to increase your bench press by 25 pounds. It's probably not going to happen. It takes time, but do that cycle of rotating the amount of reps from week to week. Do that for about 2 or 3 months. along with adding in a lot of other chest exercises, and you are going to see such dramatic changes. You are. Log what you're doing in month 1, like how much weight you're lifting, and then check it 3 months later and see if you haven't been able to make some great increases. All right, with all that being said, if you are on social media, please follow us on Instagram or Facebook. It's at Bones to Bulk. And on Facebook, we have an amazing group. You can request to join it. I will accept you. And we have so many people on so many different journeys in that group, from like people who have been lifting a long time to trainers to people who are just starting out. I mean, it's so diverse, our group, and I love it because it provides such a wealth of information. So if you're looking to get plugged into a really solid group, and I promise there's no a-holes in there because I monitor that crap. And so if you are wanting to be an a-hole in the group, just don't even bother. But no, really, in all honesty, like check out the group. It's awesome. There's such a great group of people in there. With that being said, remember, no matter what anybody has told you, what barriers stand in your way, what obstacles have held you back, or what plateaus you seem to just be stuck at, you can get past them, you can grow, you can get stronger. You've got this.